Hello, Honors Higher Algebra students. This is Mr. Johnson, and this is going to be the video on the applications of sequences. And so you can find those notes in Schoology and follow along with me as we go through these slides. So as a quick reminder of what we had done in the previous lesson with growth and decay, if you have your common ratio, it is equal to 1 plus your percent change, and for decay it would be 1 minus your percent change. Keep in mind that with decay, our common ratio will be between 0 and 1. You can find your percent change by simply taking that value and multiplying by 100. All right, we're going to look at a couple examples that are a little bit more applied than what we've seen in the past. So for this first example, we're looking at a small town in 2006 that had a population of 1,500 people. It was predicted that the population would increase 3% each year. So we're going to use to piggyback on what we did in the previous lesson, we're going to use a sub-value of 2006 to represent the year in which the town had a population of 1,500 people. And then we have u sub n, which is equal to u sub n minus 1, multiplied by, if your increase is 3%, then your common ratio would be 1.03, and our domain would be n is greater than or equal to 2007. So I'm not going to be able to show you on this screen how to type this into the calculator, but we've done a lot of that already. So when you type it into your calculator, you want to go to your table set and go to 2006 so that you can start to see the population by the year. That's going to be really helpful for us because we're looking now at what the population will be in 2020, which is going to be simply u sub 2020. And what I get when I type this in, and I just went to my home screen and typed this in. You can also obviously go to the table and type that in, but I get 2,268.885. Obviously, we're dealing with people, so I'm going to go ahead and round this to 2,269 people. Okay, and then the next question is, when will the population reach 5,000? Now, in this case, you're going to want to go to your table and take a look at all of your population values and the years or the term numbers they are associated with. So we reach 5,000 in the year, first time we reach it would be in the year 2047. At 2046, it's about 4,893 people, give or take. And so once we hit year 2047, we have just over 5,000 people. All right, our next example, we're looking at this tower of blocks that a child is building. And it says that the first row, or the bottom row, we use 15 blocks, and then each row has 2 fewer blocks than the previous row. So suppose there are 8 rows in the tower. How many blocks are used for the top row? So we could say that u sub 1 would equal the first row, or the bottom row, and that would be 15. And then u sub n would be equal to u sub n minus 1. Now this is 2 fewer blocks, which means that this is an arithmetic sequence, which means we just simply subtract 2 every time. The domain is that n is greater than or equal to 2. And so if we're looking for how many blocks are in the top row, that would be considered the 8th row. And so we are simply going to go to our table and look at u sub 8. What I get when I see this is 1 block remaining in that last row. What is the total number of blocks in the tower? Well, this is where we're looking at all of our values. So for example, we have let's see, pick something that's easier to see. U sub 1 is equal to 15, and then u sub 2 is 13, u sub 3 is 11, u sub 4, remember each of the sub values is equal to a particular row. U sub 5 is equal to 7, u sub 6 is equal to 5, u sub 7 is equal to 3, and then u sub 8 would be equal to 1. So if we were to simply just add all of those up, those would add up to 64 total blocks. Okay, in this example, we're going to look at a car which loses 1/8 of its value each year. And the original cost of the car was $23,999. So I think it makes sense probably to use u sub 0 as our starting value, because this would be the beginning cost of the car. And we got to remember that no time has gone by. Then we have u sub n, which is equal to u sub n minus 1. In this case, I would say that we should take 1 and subtract 1/8. You could obviously use a decimal, but when you think about it, you're losing 1/8 of the value. And so 1 would keep it consistent, obviously. And if you're losing 1/8, you would subtract that 1/8. N is greater than or equal to 1. And we're going to look at the value in 6 years. So we're just going to look at u sub 6, which if we go to our calculator is going to give us a value of $10,770.64. Okay, in our next problem, we want to buy an iPhone. So Kayla starts out with $50. Each week she earns $20 for doing her chores. How much will she have saved after 8 weeks? So I think it makes sense to use u sub 0, which means that she starts off without any time going by. No weeks have passed. We have $50. Then we have u sub n equal to u sub n minus 1 added, I can get rid of, there we go, added by 20 here. So 20 each week. N is greater than or equal to 1, and we're looking for 8 weeks later, which would be u sub 8. So again, if we go to our calculator and we type in our recursive formula and check u sub 8, we have $210. How long will it take Kayla to save up $400 to buy an iPhone? I think that price is probably a little under what it is now. But anyway, if we go to our table, we're going to simply just take a look at when do we reach $400. And at week 17, we're not quite there. Week 17 is going to be $390. So week 18 is when we finally exceed $400. So how long will it take? It will take 18 weeks. Okay, the next problem is going to be really connected to a lot of the stuff we're going to study in our next unit as well. But we have a $2,000 deposit in a bank account that pays 7% annual interest compounded annually. What that means is that it earns 7%, so it grows by 7% change, and the compounded annually means that the money is left in the account. So you start with $2,000, you were to increase by 7%, but you keep all the money that you started with as well as what you earned in the account, and then it earns 7% on top of all of that again for the next year, and so on and so forth. So it increases at a nice pace. So we're going to let u sub 0 equal 2,000, which would be our starting amount. U sub n is equal to u sub n minus 1. If we're growing by 7%, that would be a common ratio of 1.07, and n is greater than or equal to 1. Okay, we're going to look at when will the original deposit double in value. So we're looking at the value of $4,000. If we go to our table in our calculator, we can see that u sub 10 is equal to 3934. So 3,934 and 30 cents, which is not quite there. So u sub 11 is what we're looking for, which is $4,209.70. And so when will it reach that? It will be 11 years. Keep in mind that nothing is being done in those 11 years. You start with 2,000 and you let it just sit there and appreciate in value. Okay, the next problem definitely connects to the next unit we're going to be looking at, which is to pay for college. So it says your grandparents are generous. After they help you pay for college, you only have $20,000 left in loans. The annual interest rate for the loan is 5.5%. That means that the loan itself will increase in value because wherever you borrowed it from is going to charge you for borrowing it. And we'll talk a lot more about this, so don't be too concerned about that right now. So that means that u sub 0 is equal to 20,000, and u sub n is equal to u sub n minus 1 multiplied by 1 plus 0.055. So whenever you have a loan, you have to pay interest on that loan in order to borrow the money from the bank or whatever the case may be. So Again, this is an increase in value because the loan amount will increase unless you pay it off. So the question says, how long will it take you to pay off the loan if you pay $1,200 a year? So here's how we analyze this. We have the same starting value of $20,000. We have the same general recursive formula, except for one big change. We will be subtracting $1,200 every single month. So the loan will increase in value. However, we will subtract off the payment in order to try to get it paid off in an amount of time. So it says, how long will it take you to pay off the loan? What you'll notice when you go to your table is that the values that you're analyzing will be increasing or decreasing based on your payment. So if your payment is not enough, your loan will actually increase in value, which we'll talk a lot more about in class. But if you pay $1,200 a year and you go to your table, you'll see that the amount of money is decreasing. Now, it's not decreasing by $1,200 every single year simply because of the fact that there's interest that you're paying the bank. But if you notice, as you scroll through your table, at year 47, the amount is negative. And that means that you have finally paid off your loan. So your loan in year 46 is positive. That means you still have money to pay back the bank. But in year 47, it's negative, which means you finally paid it off. And that means that your loan is done. Now, your calculator doesn't know that that was a loan, so it keeps on decreasing. But the moment that you hit a negative balance, that means that you're done paying it off. Now, what if you were to take and instead of paying $1,200 a year, you paid $2,400 a year? So you doubled your payment. And again, we'll talk a lot more about this because this is a powerful mathematical concept. But if you double your payment, so again, go into your recursive formula in your calculator. Instead of subtracting $1,200, make sure you subtract $2,400. Now go back to your table, and what you'll find, it's kind of amazing, and we'll talk about it mathematically, but what you'll find is that you will pay it off in less than half of the time. So obviously, if you take half of 47, it's going to be a lot less than that. It actually takes you only 12 years to pay it off. And the reason is that you pay more quickly, which means there's less interest that's getting paid to the bank. So you end up getting your first negative balance in 12 years, U sub 12, versus 47 years. So it's almost a quarter of the time it would take you to pay off. Okay, the test is not Monday, so this is a typo, so this is going to be Friday. So it's going to be Friday, and we're going to review on Thursday. But you can start now the homework, and when I see you again in class, then we can go through any questions you have. Thank you.